So I'm Eddie Doyle. I'm originally from County Durham and I'm based in Newcastle now. And I think my first memory of Northern Stage is actually when I was maybe about 12 years old. So maybe 2013 sort of time. My cousin was studying at Newcastle University and she invited me and my theatre-loving parents to come and see Catch 22, which the university were putting on at the time. So my first memory is walking into stage one, sitting down next to my dad as a 12-year-old, quite very innocent, rural upbringing 12-year-old, and an usher coming over to us and saying, just so you know, there's full frontal nudity in this performance. And yeah, that's the terror of that and the excitement of that, which was my first memory of Northern Stage. Yeah, I started seeing more stuff as I turned about 16. There was like a gap from Catch 22 until I saw things like The Last Ship, and we came to see actually Where Do We Stand, the Young Company, the first of the trilogy. And that was kind of my real click into Northern Stage. I think that's when I thought, this is for me, this. Of course, yeah. So I came to see Where Do We Stand and really had that spark of this is more than I thought it could be, and I want to do that. And I was at a point, I think, where I had no idea what I was going to do. I knew I wanted to do something creative, but I didn't know what it was going to be. And seeing that meant that I needed to find a way in, and I was on holiday with my mum at the time and was looking over the Northern Stage website and found on this really dodgy hotel internet connection, I found the application form for Young Company and filled that in, and from there it started. So yeah, we started work on Where Do We Belong, which was the second of the trilogy, and since then, after that in April 2019, we started work initially on a show that was going to be Where Do We Go Now? And then, of course, the pandemic happened, and we're currently working on Welcome to Biker. I've since become a creative associate with Northern Stage, and I've gone freelance in all this time, so I get to do work based on that as well.
Can you talk about some of the professionals that you've worked with?
These guys. Yeah, so of course we work with Louis Ingham, Lee Mattinson, Mark Melville, the Holy Trinity, and with Natalie Ibu and Lorne Campbell previously. Who else could I say? Sorry, I can't remember any names.
Yeah, but I mean, you can talk about sort of about your relationship with the Holy Trinity and
Yeah, Lush, cool.
what that's done for you.
Yeah. Lush. Yes, so working with Lee and Louis and Mark, this kind of hive of ideas and different ways to bring things in, and it's really, I think I couldn't have known how to make work the way that I want to make it without having the insight and the experience and the worldview of these three brilliant people, and then also the unbelievable skill set of the three of them, bringing all of it, making it real rather than just a good idea, making it actually happen. And I think that's really important.
Can you talk about the Golden Stage connection to biker? Why are you a biker? What's the relationship in biker? How's it about?
We are in Biker because Biker's brilliant. Because Biker's this incredible community. And I think when we're making stories happen, especially in the Northeast actually, there's so many stories about the Northeast that get told. And it's easy to tell the same one over and over again. And when we have such a beautiful community and and collection of people in such a like visually vibrant place, it's hard not to want to make that the new story and the real story. And I think Northern Stage is more than just making work and making theatre. It's making real connections with real people in a real kind of beating heart of the city.
Can you tell me about some of your happiest memories about Northern Stage?
Yeah, straight off the bat, the first thing that always comes to mind when anyone asks me about this is while we were performing, I think it was our opening night of Where Do We Belong, there was a scene in that show where a wonderful performer, Alison Burt, performed just the most full of pride piece about queer pride, about queerness and joy. And the opening night was this absolutely electric dance on the front rows of just like, I've never experienced the joy since of seeing everyone just light up to that, and Alison holding this incredible queer pride flag behind her and being spun on this table, and it just feeling so energetic and real and grounded and transcendent and beautiful. Yeah.
Can you think about any moments that were challenging it at the time when you were sort of drama or incident that you can think about where you have to overcome something?
It's not necessarily drama or incident, but I think when we finished Where Do We Belong, I think when you make theatre or work in any capacity, and it matters so much to so many people, to the audiences and the people who've worked on it, seeing that be in the past and trying to move on from it is really hard, and knowing that you will make something else that's just as good, even better, it's like that's hard to remember, I think, at the time, and there was like a real sense of grief, I think, between all of us, between the ensemble, the collective, and the whole team. And especially when the pandemic came around and we had to say goodbye, essentially, to what was going to be a show of the same, even more kind of tremendousness. Having to say goodbye to something that was going to be about the old world, about the old normal, and what was challenging then, and then being launched into a totally new challenge, and trying to find the hope and conviction to tell those stories again after that is really hard, but we did. We're doing it. Look at us go.
So what did you do during the pandemic on the stage?
We wrote a lot, lots of emails. Can I write for this thing? Can I not? What's this? Where does this sit now? I think we rested, some of us anyway. It was time, maybe, I don't want to romanticize the pandemic by any means, but I think it was time to stop and think really, why do we do this? And try and take the selfish performative part out of it, maybe. Yeah.
What do you think Northern Stage's role is in the city and the region, and where can you see it going for the next 50 years?
Well, I think it's like the gravity of Northern Stage in that like brilliant spot on Barras Bridge is like, it is ever growing, definitely. I don't think 5 years ago, if I'd said to my friends or family, I'm doing some work with Northern Stage, I think there wouldn't have been so much of a recognition. And now there's this real like, oh, cool, nice. And I can't see that being diminished. I think that's got to be kind of an exponential curve, really, bigger and bigger, and doing the same thing that we've been trying to do and hopefully successfully doing in Biker and bringing people together thousands of people together so intimately. I think that can only hope to get bigger, and hopefully 50 years is enough time to make that happen.
And finally, you might not answer this, but finally, any other thoughts or memories or anything you want to say about the conversation before we
I'm not sure. Just what a team.